For over a century, the global financial system has run like a silent machine, invisible, trusted, unquestioned. Money moved, banks opened, ATMs worked, and the world spun forward. Until one day, it didn't. Every financial crisis begins the same way, quietly, not with sirens, not with warnings, but with the soft, familiar rhythm of a world that believes everything is fine. The economy looks strong. The markets keep climbing. Politicians talk about growth, stability, and record profits. Investors celebrate the best economy in decades. And for a moment, feels true. But beneath the surface, cracks begin to form. You don't see them at first. No one does, because crises rarely announce themselves. They whisper. Headlines appear for a moment, then disappear, buried under celebrity gossip, political drama, and market optimism. Inflation rising faster than expected. National debt hits record high. Bank losses mounting from falling bond values. Each headline is a signal, a tremor before the earthquake. But behind the scenes, inside quiet boardrooms and digital vaults, banks were drowning in something far more dangerous than public headlines ever revealed. Hidden losses, fragile balance sheets, trillions in assets that were worth less every day. A system built on confidence was slowly losing the one thing it needed to survive. When you deposit $1,000 in a bank, you assume it's sitting there, safe, untouched, waiting for you whenever you need it. You see it in your banking app, a neat balance available at your command. But that's not how banks work. Banks operate on a system called fractional reserve banking. It means they keep only a small fraction of your money, sometimes as low as 5%, and loan out the rest to businesses, home buyers, corporations, even other banks. For every $1 sitting in the vault, there might be $10 promised. This system works brilliantly as long as everyone doesn't ask for their money at once. But this stability is an illusion, a delicate balance built on trust and hope. And in 2024 and 2025, that assumption was shattered. When fear spread, people demanded the one thing banks could never provide: their money, all at the same time. The crisis didn't happen overnight. It began with rising interest rates, the sharpest in modern history. When rates rise, the value of old bank assets collapses. Suddenly, banks holding trillions in safe bonds were sitting on enormous, unrealized losses. Over $620 billion, to be exact. At the same time, commercial real estate crashed. Tech startups burned through their deposits. Consumers withdrew savings just to survive inflation. Confidence, the real currency of the banking system, began to fade. And then, the first bank fell. ATMs shut down. Lines formed. Panic spread like a virus. When a bank shuts its doors, the impact is immediate and brutal. ATMs stop working. Debit cards decline. Payroll checks don't clear. Businesses freeze operations. Stock markets plummet and trading halts. Most people think their money is in the bank. But the moment banks close, you realize your money never truly belonged to you. The modern world depends on digital trust. When that trust breaks, everything stops. Over 90% of all money today never touches paper. It isn't stored in safes or armored trucks. It lives as digits blinking on screens, moving through fiber optic cables, resting on servers in cold rooms you will never see. Money has become information, and banks are the gatekeepers of that information. But when the system goes dark, digital money becomes something far more fragile. It becomes nothing. One by one, the pillars of everyday life began to crack. Payments fail. Apps crash. Transfers freeze. And the most terrifying part wasn't that the money was gone, but that no one could prove it was ever there. The collapse wasn't just financial, it was psychological. For the first time, the world understood the truth. The digital economy was not a fortress, it was a glass house. And one outage, one glitch, one blackout was enough to shatter it. When screens went blank, trust went with them. In a world where money existed only as data, the moment the data stopped moving, society stopped with it. And governments saw an opportunity. In the confusion, they stepped forward with solutions, with promises, with a new system, one they controlled directly. In the aftermath, governments rushed forward with a solution: CBDCs, central bank digital currencies. Unlike bank deposits, CBDCs are held directly with the government. The official pitch comes with advantages: instant payments, no private bank risk, and real-time monetary control. But with that control came something else: programmable money. Imagine spending limits set by the government, expiration dates on your savings, and restrictions on what you can buy. Freedom and convenience, two sides of the same coin. Most disasters announce themselves with noise, but the biggest ones arrive quietly. A morning like any other: sunlight on windows, coffee brewing, notifications buzzing. People scrolling, tapping, paying bills, checking balances, never imagining that the numbers on a screen could vanish, freeze, or change without warning. We trust the system because we must, because it's always been there, because yesterday looked just like today. But deep inside the global machine, gears are shifting. Warning lights are blinking where no one can see them. Pressure is building behind the polished walls of banks and institutions that appear strong until the moment they aren't. And when systems fail, they do not ask for permission. They do not wait for you to prepare. They simply stop. What does a crisis look like in the digital age? Not smoke, not sirens, not chaos in the streets. It looks like a loading screen. It's a temporary error message. A transaction stuck, a card declined, an account inaccessible. One small glitch becomes a pattern becomes a shock, and a shock becomes a story, the story of how everything we depend on is more fragile than we ever realized. In a world built on trust, the moment trust cracks, everything built on top of it begins to crumble. And today, on this ordinary, quiet morning, the crack begins. Understand the system. Protect yourself. The future favors the informed. Thanks for watching.